What's up YouTube? Barcode here, bringing you another Heir of Light video. I apologize, I've been sick, I've been busy, but I am super excited for this new raid that has come out. It's already been out for a day, so a lot of you have already jumped in and experienced it. Some of you have been progressing through raid floor 3, floor 2, floor 1. Floor 2, floor 1 is a joke. Floor 4 is, I think, maybe one or two people, two teams have actually beaten it, so it's definitely a higher difficulty. So there's a lot of things that I would like to see done with the real-time party. However, I'm going to go into this video is just going to be a quick beginner's guide on floor 3, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, if you haven't done it already, we did get the 3,000 share mark or whatever it was to get the code. If you haven't used the code yet or don't know anything about it, you get a free code today. This is not one of my codes. This is something for the pre-registration share event. Okay, so if you're on Android, you go down to the event page and go to your promo code here. Okay, if you're iOS, there is a link which I will hopefully provide down below in the description. Okay, but if you're Android, you click on the coupon code banner here and you type in 3,000 KARAT Game Loft. Okay, KARAT Game Loft. Oh my, that's global. GL is global. Okay, I apologize. That is the stupidest thing I've ever said in my life. I apologize. 3,000 carats. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's get on with the video. Okay, I'm gonna skip past floor 1 and floor 2 because anyone can get pretty much carried in floor 1, floor 2. The team comps, it really doesn't even matter. It's very easy to get through those. I mean, you just bring a tank, DPS, healer, and you're fine. Okay, it's just we all should be past that, except for new players, obviously. But you can get someone to carry you. Just ask the community. Everybody is very nice, besides maybe a couple people. But whatever. But this is gonna focus on floor 3. Floor 3 is where the difficulty is increased. This separates the mice from the men, okay? So this is definitely a floor where this is about progression, okay? This is all about where your account is in progression. Transcendences, awakenses, gear, awakenses, whatever. Also, there's higher requirements. There's, the sum of all the tanks in your whole raid and in general need to have defense combined to be 10,000 at the least. That's what's recommended. If it's not, that AoE will pretty much one-shot the majority of your team, okay? The AoE is this one right here. It's the Blow of Wrath. The higher the total defensive tank service, the lower damage received from Blow of Wrath, okay? This is what happens right before Odette summons all of the adds into your party. So if you're not bringing a tank when you come to floor 3, that's one of the biggest problems of them all. Because if you're not, now you're relying on 2 other characters. If this is a pickup group, if this is friends carrying you, I get it, okay? But if this is not, then this is a pickup group, you're pretty much killing your own raid. You're just wasting everyone's time, okay? We've had 2 days to experiment with a lot of things, which is a limited time. It's only 2-hour spans. I feel like it should be a 3-hour span or a 4-hour span twice a day. I put my sense into the devs. Maybe they will change it at some point, okay? But bring a tank, okay? And at least have that tank at 3,500 defense, right? That's your share, okay? That's your share. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. I said high requirements. Servant choices start to matter when you get to floor 3. You can't just bring 2 DPS and a healer. You can't bring weird comps that you can just push through in floor 1 and floor 2. You have to actually think about what you're going to bring, okay? So there's a couple different things to think about, and I'm going to go into skills. I'm not going to talk specifically into the boss's skills. I'll talk briefly about it, but I want to talk to you about what to actually bring to benefit your whole team as a whole, okay? Now, one thing to note is all buffs are shared as a gigantic raid. Heals are all shared, heal over times, attack buffs, defense buffs, etc. Okay, so that's one thing to think about. If you're overlapping buffs with the 2 other people that are in your raid, you're shortcutting, you're cutting yourself. You could bring so much more to the team, okay? What I'm trying to think or try to get confirmed from the devs is your team passives, if they all stack or if it's just for your specific own party or if it's for the whole raid in general. If it's for the whole raid in general, there is a lot of more theory crafting that can be done, but I'm waiting for confirmation for devs for that. Maybe somebody has already talked to a dev. Comment down below if you have and can confirm that, okay? However, things to note: skills, okay? There is a lot of skills, self buffs that Odette does, attack buff, speed buff, all different things that they have, okay? So you need to have, 1 or 2 people that can strip the buffs from Odette, okay? So bring strips, okay? Also, there's a lot of debuffs that go on you, one of them being a very important one, which is a heal block, okay? So you can go about 2 different things. One, I always bring someone that can cleanse my entire raid, okay? What is that? Water Halel, Water Lucian, whatever the case may be. Okay, you need someone to cleanse. Okay, another good option is you should be bringing a healer, 2 at a minimum on floor 3. Okay, but you also, to be a more safe run, bring someone that can do a heal over time. This will make sure that that heal block gets knocked off. 1 heal over time tick will remove the heal block. Okay. So if you're not bringing a cleanse, at least make sure to bring a heal over time, because that heal block is detrimental to your tanks. If your tanks die, you're dying, okay? Unless you have a whole bunch of immune to defense buff characters that are level 70, Water Archangel, Fire Camilla, whatever the case may be, right? Heal over time definitely matters, okay? You definitely want to also bring some debuffs to debuff Odette so she doesn't do as much damage. Lower attack buff, lower speed, okay? Every nuker has a defense break, so you have the defense break, right? Bring as many debuffs as you can with everything else. The heal over time, the cleanse, defense buffs, right? You want to not only make sure that your party survives, but the whole raid survives. So if your other 2 friends or 2 pickup groups has overlapping buffs or debuffs, and you have the ability to bring something else, make sure to do that, okay? It's very, very important. Also, one thing to note, you definitely want to mix up your classes. So don't just bring a whole bunch of tanks, a whole bunch of healers, a whole bunch of ranged, or a whole bunch of attack-based characters. There's different, and you need to spread out the love. Spread out the love, baby, right? 2 reasons why. One is the second skill of Odette targets tanks and supports. It lowers the skill gauge of supports and hits the support and reduces the speed of supports. Another one is for tanks and healers, reduces skill gauge of healers, reduces speed of healers, okay? So you don't want to bring just a whole bunch of healers and no supports. Why? Because their skill gauges will be reduced. You won't have your supports supporting your team with shields, defense buffs, heal over times, etc. Okay? So there's a lot of different things and reasons why you want to do that, to spread out your team. Okay, also, you don't want to just bring a whole bunch of speed nukers or just defense-based nukers or just attack-based nukers. Why? Because the first phase is more, not immune, but susceptible. Speed does more damage in phase 1, defense does more damage in phase 2, and attack does more damage in phase 3, okay? Make sure one of you has one of each. That's the preferred method of a gigantic raid team comp. One of each. Everybody bring a tank. Everybody bring one nuker, different abilities, and then 2 people bring a healer and 1 bring a support. That is what my ideal comp I feel like would be. And we're still learning the phases and the floors, so there's a lot of things to think about. Also, please stop bringing your Zetas, your Gretels, your Charlottes. Odette has resistance to ignore defense. Okay, ignore defense has carried you throughout the majority of the game. Okay, this is a new mechanic. Don't use it. Okay, your ignore defense champion can work everywhere else except for here. Do not bring ignore defense champion. Another thing to note, revivers do not work. Okay, this is not a bug. This is intentional. There's a skill on the monument that puts a curse on your whole raid that prevents cursed targets from being revived. So, if you're bringing a reviver, you're 95% wrong most of the time. There is reasons why you may bring a reviver, and that is because maybe you don't even care about the revive. Maybe you want to bring Fire Lucian A, okay? Why would you bring her? Because A, she has a lower attack debuff. She also has a heal block, which is not needed here, but it's an extra debuff, which is nice. She also has a heal, obviously, and she has a chance to strip the enemy target, which is what you want, okay? And even though her 3rd does revive, you don't really necessarily need it. However, it gives an attack buff to all allies level 5, and maybe you have some combo that you want to happen from Fire A Lucian, okay? That is really the only reason why you would bring revivers into these comps, is because of the utility that that healer may, or reviver may bring, okay? One more thing, beginner guide to note, is about speed, okay? When you're getting into mid game, end game, a lot of your characters are having a ton of speed, okay? What I have seen throughout the raids and what I have talked about with fellow colleagues about the raids that are doing floor 3 and floor 4 is that speed is it's good and bad here, okay? And it's more on the side of bad. The reason being is that the more speed they have, the more times they're not going to use their 1st or 2nd skill of a servant, and they're going to be using their combo skill more often, which takes priority over 1st and 2nd skills. Luckily, it doesn't take priority over heals the majority of the time if they're below 50% health, but the other 9 times out of 10, the combo skill is going to be prioritized. So what does this mean? You do need at least 1 speed-based nuker, right? That would be preferred for phase 1. However, the main key to kind of band-aiding this for now, and I talked about it in a different video, but wind gear. I prefer wind gear on every single servant in this game. And this was before this raid even came out. Wind gear is so much better in this real-time party raid. And that being that global cooldown gets reset more and more and more so that your team can do more skills. And that is important because sometimes if, say, like Water Camilla, her leech applies defense to the whole team. If she's never able to use that skill because of other people's combo skills going off, then that's a problem, okay? So think about that in your team comps. Try to get as much wind gear as possible. Like I say, I only farm Hide Dungeon, because all I want is wind. I'll go Wind Eruption, I'll go Wind Havoc, I'll go Wind Petrify, I'll go Wind Double Iron, I'll go Wind Double Chain. I don't care. Wind everyone all the time. It's like back in beta, Heir of Light, when there wasn't a global cooldown. That was legit. That was beta was fun. I understand why they added global cooldown, but the wind gear now takes me back. Nostalgia. So Wind Gear is definitely OP. So while I try to work this out with a pickup group, I'm going to go ahead and end the video with this Raid Floor 3 Beginner's Guide, okay? I have cleared it a couple times, but the problem is it's very hard, okay? It's very hard for pickup groups. And you have to be at a certain position in your life and account to be able to do it properly, okay? So that's all the time I have today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Peace.